Hey everybody, I'm Brady Augustine, host of Good Packer Nation Morning. Yesterday we talked about what the defense was going to need to do to get a win against the Vikings, and today we're going to talk about the offense. So you're not going to want to miss this show. A little bit of interaction, a little bit of free-form fun. This is Good Packer Nation Morning, talking about what the offense will need to do to get a win against the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium. Their first regular season opening of US Bank Stadium, and then come back to Lambeau 2-0. You're not going to want to miss it. Catch it all right here. Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation Morning, everybody out there. It's Thursday, and the weekend is almost upon us. We've got a huge game to talk about. Packers versus Vikings in the regular season opener of US Bank Stadium. So jump on this morning. If you're having a good Thursday morning, say hi to me. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from, and we will give you a shout out as we do Packer Nation Roll Call. And today we're going to be talking about the offense. Yesterday we talked about the defense, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Today's Throwback Thursday, but tomorrow is Prediction Friday. So you guys got to get ready to make your calls by tomorrow. And I am still stewing about this one a little bit, to be quite honest. Hey there, everybody. All right, we got Royce is here. Good morning there, Royce. How are you doing? Yeah, Tuan is here from D.C. Great. Good to have you holding down the fort there in the nation's capital. Hey there, Sean. How you doing? Hey, I got your T-shirt ordered, by the way. Rudy is here. DM is back. Jared is here. Good. I know. I knew Jared would be happy. Good to see you, Terry. Adam Rogers is back, and Daniel and Tim and Nelson and Josh. Yeah, I knew Jared would be happy to see my coffee, and it's actually steaming hot. I don't know if I can get it to where you can see the steam coming off of it. So I am feeling good. I got a little bit of the hazelnut coffee in the mug today. It's a little bit cooler. The fall just feels like on, and yet it's a beautiful day. Yesterday was actually really quite warm. We got Ryan from Portage, and Paul, Brian, Toussaint, Zhang says good morning to everyone. Mike, and it's not a Packers mug, no. We'll have GPN mugs made up here pretty soon, I think. And then maybe I'll have to give one away a week or something so you guys have one. Tim is here, Darren, everybody. All right. Well, guys, it is Throwback Thursday. So yesterday and actually this morning a little bit, what I've been doing, early in the season, the Packers have one game under their belt, all right? So we could compare the way the Packers looked with one game under their belt. Hey there, Michael from St. Louis. And then, of course, the Vikings have one game under their belt. So you watch that game and you what I saw out of both of these teams, okay? Oh, somebody's already mentioning the Precious, which reminds me, I forgot to, I'm sorry. Did I disappear? Can you still see me? But at any rate, you look at those two games, and one of the things that I do want to let you know that I saw, and maybe you guys saw the same thing. I think we saw a Packers team that had a little rust to shake off. And I think all of us, because we all watched that game, obviously, can probably agree the Packers had some change. I mean, obviously, especially when you look at the offense at the end of the game, when we could have closed this thing out, which we normally would do. Hey, Trent, how you doing, man? We didn't do that because of miscommunications. We ended up trying to call 2 timeouts in a row. I mean, give me a break, okay? So that's stuff I expect to be cleaned up. But on the other side of that, what you may not have seen, because not all of you guys are out there watching the Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings against the Tennessee Titans was a little bit the same. It looked like the Vikings had a little bit of rust to shake off as well. So this is an interesting Week 2 matchup. And Aaron Rodgers made the statement this week that there are still unscouted, this is Week 2, there are still unscouted looks out there. It's going to be such an interesting game because each team, not only, we know each other very well, but in Week 2 of the season, there are still things that we have put in place that we are expecting to throw the defense or the offense for a loop. We've got these unscouted looks, stuff we've been keeping close to the vest. We're going to be rolling out some things, and they're going to be rolling out some things. And I think this game may come down to who handles the unscouted looks better. Now, my initial reaction to that question is the Packers have the advantage in that area. We've got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if the Vikings defense rolls out something new, we have Aaron Rodgers behind center. So I would expect the advantage. Now look at the other side of the ball if the Packers roll out something new. And one thing I'm looking for is more Julius Peppers in this game. More Julius Peppers. He had a sack in the Week 17 matchup last year, and I want to see more of him in this game. But if we roll out some unscouted looks, some stuff they haven't seen, well, keep in mind, they also are going to have a quarterback back there that hasn't seen the Green Bay Packers the way Teddy Bridgewater has. Okay, so what you get out of that is because of the quarterback situation, I do think the Packers have an advantage scheme-wise. If we can put the Vikings offense on their heels by scheme, I think we can take them down in this contest. Now, of course, the question still is which quarterback is going to play. I think Bradford is going to play this game. There have been rumors out there that Zimmer is going to make the switch to Bradford. Sean Hill was serviceable, but he's just doesn't have the velocity on the ball. There were times when he can't escape. Bradford is a little bit younger. I don't think Bradford is going to he doesn't add a whole lot of athleticism to me, not after the knee surgeries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think both of these quarterbacks amount to an opportunity for the Green Bay Packers, but I do expect Bradford to play. And it may be, I didn't actually look this morning to see if the Vikings, if Zimmer had made any announcement at this time, but I do expect Bradford to be the starting quarterback, and I think he is. I think that would be the choice I would make at this point, because you want somebody that can be more than a game manager. All right, Allie is on. Allie Aitken says we need to get Lacey going in this game. Thank you. You just rolled me right into my next topic seamlessly. Okay, so one of the things I did, guys, is we can compare Week 1 Packers versus Jacksonville. And Week 1, Vikings versus the Tennessee Titans. But what I wanted to do in this morning was compare the last Packer-Viking matchup and see what we had again and when we sort of shook that out. One of the things I want to mention is these were two completely different teams in Week 17 last year. So again, it kind of depends on which team is able to develop the quickest as a Week 2 team as compared to being a Week 1 team, both of which were a little bit rusty, right? So which team handles that the best is going to have the upper hand. But one thing, gosh, we have got to unleash the hound, Eddie Lacy, on this Minnesota Viking defense. Lacy had a good game. I think the Vikings game in Week 17 was the best game that Lacy had in 2015. And we saw them, what the Packers were able to do were to be able to move the pocket, move the defense a little bit, and then let Eddie Lacy take a seam. And he is able to find seams. But not only that, I think Lacy is a little bit quicker this year, but he's still bringing the hammer. If the Packers can get Eddie Lacy going, and of course on the opposite side of that, the Vikings want to get Adrian Peterson going. But if the Packers can get Eddie Lacy going early, remember early on we had a little bit of a struggle with that. But if we can get Eddie Lacy going early and then move to the play action pass, the Vikings defense, here's when the Vikings defense is vulnerable. When there's space, we've got to spread this defense out. If we can spread this defense out, we can win this game. But you've got to be able to do that. We've got to start by being able to pound the rock and then go into play action and start to make them guess. And if we can start to make them guess, we will see them guess wrong from time to time. I mean, this Vikings defense, they've got a great front. Everson Griffin in the Week 17 matchup he was a destroyer in that game. We can't let that happen. But that's also scary because, again, we have a little bit of a shakeup on our offensive line. Colonel Johnny is on. He says, release the Hulk. I am now going to change, because I say release the hounds just because that's the way you say it, but release the Hulk for Eddie Lacy. That one. Release, that's a total t-shirt right there. Way to go. But yeah, we have got to, and we've got Tyler saying we've got to own the line of scrimmage. And this is the big question. We've got a little bit of a shakeup on our offensive line. The Vikings have a very solid defensive line. I love the way Lane Taylor played against Malik Jackson, but here's the difference. In the Week 17 matchup, Packers versus the Vikings, we ended up losing that one after a late season or a late game surge, right? The Vikings are going to bring more pressure. So we are going to see, this is my big question mark for this game. And listen up. Lane Taylor, his forte is the running game. He did a great job in pass protection. But the Vikings are going to give us more pressure looks and bring more pressure. How does Lane Taylor handle that? He did a great job against Jacksonville. But there again, and then you add into that the fact that there are still going to be unscouted looks out there. How does Lane Taylor handle it this time around? How does J.C. Tretter handle it this time around? It may be a bit of a different story. Now, again, we've got Aaron Rodgers behind center. He's as good as it gets. But we're going to need to see Aaron Rodgers climb the pocket and make some plays early. We've got to prove to this Vikings defense that their pressure isn't going to work. If we can prove it early, number one, if you can run the ball, then you don't have to concern yourself as much with that. But number two, if we can't, let's say we can't run the ball and our running game falters, we've got to be able to throw over that pressure. And so I think that the Packers have, I think we've got the best quarterback in the league. I called him the executioner because when teams bring pressure, he is able to find the open guy, and he finds it as fast as anyone in the league. And then you add to that the fact that his release is so quick. Aaron Rodgers is the executioner when it comes to blitz packages in the NFL right now, even more so than Tom Brady because his release is quicker, I think. But we're going to have to pull that off, all right? Josh is saying Rip's going to help in protection. Yeah, and now if you look back to the Week 17 matchup last year, remember John Kuhn not only with a big lead block play for a first down, but also with a big catch out of the backfield for a first down. Aaron Ripkowski could have something to say about our success or failure in this game, about whether the Packers go 2-0 in a very difficult way to start, and our chance to go back to Lambeau Field 2-0, or we go 1-1 and break even coming back to Lambeau. Now, there's a huge difference between those two because 2-0 says you've got a division win against the current NFC North champions under your belt, and you beat them at home. That's a big one. Can I get a thumbs up right now for the prospect of going 2-0 and having a win against the Minnesota Vikings, a good team, the current champions, under our belt, and then go back to Lambeau Field, and let's get her done now. Moving into 2 more games before our bye week. Can I get a thumbs up for going 2-0 early on? Phil's got it. Way to go, man. Good to see you on, by the way. Hey, Phil, are you going to be down on the field? I think Phil's going to be down on the field. From what I understand, you're going to be wearing red down there. But yeah, there is no better way to start the 2016 season than to beat the Minnesota Vikings right now. To go into US Bank Stadium, we know it's going to be loud. Rumors are that they built the stadium to be even louder than the Metrodome. So again, can we run the ball? If we can run the ball, that's going to bode well for us, and it's going to be something we need. All right? If we can't run the ball, our backs will be immediately against the wall. I had to have some coffee so nobody stressed about it that I'm not getting my caffeine this morning. 2-0, very important with the early bye. Thanks. DM is out there. One of the regulars, man, good to see you. And a great point. 2-0 is very important against the bye. And in particular, this year's 2-0 is important because if we go 2-0, those are 2 away games we've got under our belt at that point. Then we get a chance to go back to Lambeau. And then shortly after that, we have the bye week, and we can have a chance to really get off to a good start that first quarter. And remember, this first quarter is the quarter that we play without Pennell, who had a good game last year, Week 17, against the Minnesota Vikings, right? So which actually begs the question, what about the middle of our defensive line right now? We've got Adrian Peterson to deal with, all right? And Adrian Peterson, again, I'm a little bit hesitant to say it because I think the Vikings were knocking off some rust in the first game against the Titans. But I'm going to say this right now. Adrian Peterson did not look like the Adrian Peterson of old. There was a difference to me. He did not look. And I say that, and I'm going to hesitate. I'm going to backtrack because you watch. When Adrian Peterson plays the Packers, it is on. I know it's going to be on. All right? But yes, Terry, I would love to ruin the unveiling of the first regular season game at US Bank Stadium. That's what we've got ahead of us right now, and a 2-0 record and a chance to go back to the Vikings. But Adrian Peterson did not look the same to me. And so we will see how the Packers defense holds up because, again, our question marks on defense right now reside on the defensive line. How well can Kenny Clark develop and what kind of a contribution can he make while Pennell is out on suspension? And then the following question to that is absolutely what is the interior, what is our inside linebacker situation going to be? I think, early on in the preseason, I would have thought that maybe Blake Martinez would have had a good game. Would have been key in this game. I actually was kind of hopeful that they would have started Martinez and thrown him into the fire against Jacksonville. They didn't do that. Joe Thomas was the hero in that game. And because of that success, I can't imagine they're going to go away from Joe Thomas against Adrian Peterson and the Minnesota Vikings offensive line right now, especially under the circumstances, because we know the Vikings want to run the ball. They do not have Teddy Bridgewater, for crying out loud. Their job one is going to be to stuff Adrian Peterson down our throats. And if they can be successful, they are going to run AD until we stop him. And it's time for Joe Thomas. I loved what I saw out of the guy. We know that he's not a guy for, matching up with a tight end out of the backfield on pass plays. But Joe Thomas could make a huge difference in this game as a two-down back. And if we can get the Minnesota Vikings into 3rd and long, I think we have an opportunity to truly make a difference in this game. Remember, this is a Packers team that faced a fairly similar defense last week. They were a quite good defense, Jacksonville, even though their record didn't show. We all knew that the Jacksonville defense was going to be a stout defense, and they were. But if the Packers had done a few different things on offense, we should have won that game walking away. Aside from the offensive snafus, and then you add to that the fact that Clinton Dix had a late game interception that was called back, and the Green Bay Packers could have won that one walking away. So here's the question that I have. Tomorrow, guys, we have got to make our picks. It's Prediction Friday tomorrow. And I am torn about which way this game is going to go. All right, so let's do a poll. I wanted to do more interaction today. So, all right, thumbs up if you think this game is going to be exactly what everyone would expect with an NFC rivalry game and two very good teams. The perennial NFC North winner versus the upstart winner from last year, Packers versus Vikings. Give me a thumbs up if you think this is going to be a close game right now, okay? Now go to the other end of the scale, and it's the sad face, I think. But hit that little button if you think the Packers have a chance to win this one going away. Hey there, Jeff. How you doing? We're talking about whether this is going to be a close game or not. I think there is an opportunity for this to not even be close. We've got a few people. Angry face. Thumbs up, close game. The opposite side of the scale, I think, is the angry face. If you think the Packers have an opportunity to win this one going away, that they can go in and really, truly make a statement in this game. Not only go 2-0, not only take down the Vikings at US Bank Stadium, the regular season opener, not only have the chance to go 2-0 and come back to Lombardi Field and play our first home game of the season, which means we get to stack some home games down the stretch. Let me know what you think. Is it going to be close? Or put that angry face on if you think that we can get her done, that our defense can get out there and get mean, and our offense can have some success and be in sync like we weren't against the Jacksonville. We were not in sync early in the Jacksonville Jaguars game, and we had communication problems late in the Jacksonville Jaguars game. If you take those two things out, if we can get those two things corrected, then the Packers score a lot more points. All right, I see Jeff up here. He says that the Packers have a chance to win this one going away, okay? This is and Jeff, you know this. Tomorrow it's Prediction Friday. We're all going to get on here and we're going to make our predictions. So this is what I'm torn between right now. Because even though I do think the Packers have an opportunity to win this one going away and to really make a statement in this game, if you look at this game, if you just, as a non-partisan observer, okay, you've got the Green Bay Packers, the Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers, perennial NFC North champions until last season. Last season, the Packers did not win the NFC North. The Vikings did. We've got to play that team. Vikings have a very stout defense. And they gave Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers some problems in Week 17 last year, including, and in fact, as much as I hate to say it, we lost the game at Lambeau. Okay? But what better time to return the favor from Week 17 last year than to walk into US Bank Stadium in 2016 and steal one from the Minnesota Vikings, who want to kick off the regular season in style in their new stadium. We need to steal this game. Whether we win it walking away or whether we win it in a close one, I am fine with. And let me tell you one thing, all right? Again, throw up a thumbs up if you think it's going to be close. Let me just get a read right now. Throw up a thumbs up if you are pretty convinced this is going to be a close game, all right? Because I got something I want to say about a close game, all right? If you think it's going to be a close game, give me a thumbs up right now. And I see quite a few of them coming across. Thumbs up, it's going to be a close game. This is NFC North rivals. We know each other well. But let me just remind you guys that the Vikings are still undergoing the Blair Kick Project right now. Blair Walsh has already missed one. So let me see a heart right now. Heart me if you like the Packers in a close one. If you think that the Blair Kick Project is not going to help the Minnesota Vikings, and if you think that the Packers have a chance and a better opportunity and the advantage in a close game, because of the way we can move the ball, because of the weapons we have, because we also have a ball-hawking defense, give me a heart if you think the Packers have the edge in a close one. I think the Vikings got to look back at last season. We've got to look back. A game against the Vikings, they should have won by 2 points. The Blair Kick Project, wide. Walsh comes in and already has missed just an ugly field goal in the game against the Titans. Absolutely atrocious. Just ugly. If this game comes down to the wire, I'll take Mason Crosby over Blair Walsh any day. I will take Aaron Rodgers over whichever quarterback. I don't care if Teddy Bridgewater comes back from ACL surgery this week and is 100% and plays. I don't care who we put in. I will take Aaron Rodgers. Guys, we've got Jordy Nelson back. We didn't have him in the Week 17 matchup against the Vikings last year. I will take the Packers in a close one. So that's one thing. I'm playing my cards a little bit away from the vest in terms of if tomorrow morning I get up and I decide that this is going to be a close game, I will be picking the Packers. But I also am toying with the idea that the Packers could win this one running away. My son got up and, man, I got to give the guy credit. I think he said like 35-14 or something. He has got the Packers winning this thing walking away. And if you'll remember, I think it was 2014 early in the season when we played at the I guess it wasn't the Metrodome at the time. But, and Jeff Hayes has mentioned, we didn't have Cook last year, Week 17 either. I will add to that the fact that Richard Rodgers had a fantastic game against the Vikings in Week 17. Now we got Cook and Rodgers, who showed himself to be a weapon against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So there is this possibility of the Packers winning this one going away. You know, we got Jeff. He's already got it on the board. And tomorrow will be time to put up your score. I see Josh has 27-16 Pack, and that would be a pretty solid score. That's a double-digit win. Angel has 24-18. Angel's back. How you doing? 24-18 pack. All right. Okay, Prediction Friday is tomorrow, guys. All right. But, yeah, one of the big questions, and I see this rolling up on the screen, so I'm just going to talk on it right now. Sam Shields, still in concussion protocol, still on the injury list. At this point, I have got to be preparing for Sam Shields not to play in this game. But again, I will say this. I think Quentin Rollins is going to be just fine. I do want to do one little correction. I thought Rollins was first to the ball on that 4th and 1 play, but that was Randall. But the other 2 plays, the big pass deflection and the tackle, I mean, Rollins had some good plays in that game. It was overshadowed by the fact that one of the plays he wasn't successful on was a touchdown, and the other one was a big gain and explosive play. So I think if we have to go without Shields, I actually think we're going to be okay. Again, look for the Packers. Mike McCarthy and Dom Capers are going to bring some pressure packages that the Vikings have not yet seen. Okay? I see a lot of sad faces for Sam Shields being out, and I'm going to be pulling for the guy. It looks like it may be a last-minute decision, a game day choice. Obviously, the medical staff makes the final call on this. This is not even Mike McCarthy's call at this point. But if Sam Shields can play, that's great. If not, however, I think we are going to be okay. Josh was saying he wants Sam Shields to sit out and Gunter to surprise the Vikings. I would love it if a guy like Darius Gunter could get out there and go after Stephon Diggs and just man up on him all day long, play bump and run, and shut him down. Then we would win this game going away, without a doubt. I think Gunter has that. He's got that in him. I didn't think he had a fantastic game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's going to be interesting to see. Now, one thing I want to say very clearly is you have got to watch out for Rudolph, the tight end for the Vikings in this game. Historically, we have gotten gashed by this guy. Now you look at a Packers defense we've got a little bit of a question mark still, even with Ryan and Martinez, as to how they can cover tight ends out of the backfield, running backs, et cetera, but Rudolph is a dangerous weapon. I think he had 65 yards against the Tennessee Titans, but that was in 4 catches. All right, obviously, Diggs got the big, he had over 100 yards, 107 yards, I believe, in that game. But watch out for Rudolph. We have got to be ready for him. And he is going to be the guy when the pressure comes on that whichever quarterback they plug in, he's going to be the outlet. He's going to be the pressure valve. And we cannot afford. We're going to have 1 or 2 passes deflected. And if we can do that, if we can keep Rudolph in check, and then of course we need somebody to go, man up outside on Diggs, then I think we will be fine. And of course, with all that discussion, you've still got to go back to the fact that the Packers have to stop Adrian Peterson. That's job one. And I know I talked about it yesterday. I probably talked about it the day before. But you can't count him out. I do think that Adrian Peterson did not look quite the same. But I also think that Adrian Peterson is going to turn it on for this game. So the early stages of this game and how the Packers offense and the Vikings offense are successful or not in the running game could be the difference in this game, all told, as a matter of fact. All right, I've got notes, and this today, I just kind of threw stuff down. What I did is I just watched the Week 17 matchup because I thought that would be another one of the best touchstones I could see going into this game against the Vikings. So I'm just kind of reading my notes here if it's a little bit discombobulated. I think play action off a successful run game makes us very successful on offense. I think we score a lot of points if we can have that combination, because then we've still got shot plays in there. We've still got Cook. We've still got Rodgers. We've still got Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb. And another thing I know I wanted to talk about, and this is a guy that has been very controversial in Packer Nation. So let's do this a little bit interactively, okay? But I want to be very clear, all right? What I want you guys to do is predict for this player what kind of a game he is going to have. Packers versus the Vikings Sunday night, okay? this is not, it doesn't, I'm not interested in what your thoughts are of him overall, or how he did last week, or how he has done in the past. I want to know, what kind of game do you think Davante Adams has this Sunday night? Thumbs up means he has a good game and he really turns it on and he shows it. And of course, angry face on the other side of that means you think Davante Adams cannot get it done and the pressure breaks him. He has the same drops that we've seen him had. We saw him, he's kind of like a bipolar player. We saw it in the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was so over Davante Adams when he dropped that big pass. But at the same time, he got up, got his hands free, and was after that ball. Thumbs up, you think Davante Adams has something to say very positively in the game against the Vikings. Give me an angry face if you think Davante Adams, it's kind of same old, and you're going to be down on him. I see a lot of thumbs up. A lot of people, I think, kind of believe that Davante Adams can turn it on and get it done in this game. If Davante Adams can stack some successes, I think his confidence will grow. If his confidence will grow, his elite skills will begin to take over for him. His instincts will kick in. And I think if Davante Adams can have a good game against the Vikings, it could bode very well for the Packers offense moving forward. And I am not saying anything against Jared Abbrederis, Jeff Janis, Ty Montgomery. I love Abby. I love Monty. I love Jeff Janis. But if Davante Adams can really bring it on and get a confidence builder and get involved early and then make a difference when he has shot plays that come his way, he can actually catch the ball for a change, like he did right before the second half against the Jaguars. I think Davante Adams could have something to say for this team overall. That's the one thing I've said about him from start to finish, top to bottom, is the guy has elite skills. And if he can turn it on, I think his time is limited at this point because there's some guys breathing down his neck right now. I think he can have something to say in this game. All right. Anthony says we need a third weapon, and that's right. And to me, it doesn't matter who it is, but I do think that it is an opportunity this week for Adams to turn it on. All right? Sean says we're going to see more Jared Cook also. I would like to see more Jared Cook. To be quite honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Rodgers once again doesn't have more to say in this game. Rodgers had a great game against the Jags. Cook with a catch also for, I think, 7 yards and a first down. But yeah, we need our tight end. I guess basically it doesn't matter to me which one it is, but we need our tight ends to make a difference in this game. We need to start putting pressure on the interior, middle, the soft spot in the zone. We need to start having the tight ends make a difference when the Vikings bring pressure. We need to throw over that pressure, and Cook needs to make a difference. We've got a lot of people like to see more of Jared Cook, and I would too. Remember early on, if you watch this show, like when I started, this show has not been around for very long, okay? Which is probably why, like, it sucks in terms of, like, structure and perfection, like some of these other guys. This is not a pro show, but what this is just Packer Nation talking about their beloved Packers. But early on, my thought on Jared Cook was, this is in the preseason, during training camp, I thought that we would see Jared Cook more in between the 20s. And I truly thought, even though Cook looks like a big-time weapon in the red zone, I thought he would develop as a weapon in the red zone, but I thought Richard Rodgers might be more of a weapon early on in the red zone because he knows the offense better. But again, we want to see these guys develop. One thing we didn't see is that the tight ends were any kind of a linchpin to this offense, right? When Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers early in this game were out of sync and they just weren't clicking quite yet, why weren't we throwing passes, quick slants to the tight end for first downs? This is an opportunity for the Packers offense to show that they have that their passing game with Aaron Rodgers to Jared Cook, are you kidding me? And Richard Rodgers? That should be a devastating combination in and of itself, and we didn't see a whole lot of it. We did see Rodgers with the sort of desperation catch. It was a fantastic catch. But we have yet to see the Packers offense want to show this league that they better be ready for our tight ends to gash them over the middle. And we haven't seen it yet. So yes, the Minnesota Vikings game, Packers-Vikings Sunday night, is the perfect time to start doing this. And I am with all of you out there that, and frankly, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Rodgers or Cook. I just want to see us start utilizing our tight ends more. Little snafu there. I don't know what that was. But this is a West Coast offense, guys. The tight ends should be involved. Think back. How dangerous was Mark Chmura and Keith Jackson when when Brett Favre was in the red zone? Is it just me? I mean, give me a thumbs up if you see the same thing, that we just do not utilize our tight ends the way we should right now as a West Coast offense. I mean, I hope to see it. We brought in Jared Cook to be that kind of a weapon if Rodgers couldn't be. And yet, I think we had a total of 2 catches out of our tight ends against the Jaguars. Now, listen, if the Jaguars were playing their front and then trying to overprotect out the backside in the early quarters of the Jaguars game, they were trying to get the pressure with just their front because they brought in Malik Jackson, et cetera, et cetera. And then they were giving themselves opportunities for better coverage and possibly getting a coverage sack on the top of that. Well, somebody explain to me why the tight ends weren't absolutely eating up the middle of the field. You know, obviously part of it is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a good linebacking core. But give me a break. We need to be utilizing our tight ends in a West Coast offense. I don't mean to sound negative about it. I guess I kind of moved toward a little bit of a rant there, but really there's no excuse. We should be able to absolutely thrash people right now. And again, that goes to my question, because tomorrow I've got to predict this. You've got to predict this. If the Packers, you know, if Kyle Rudolph can gash us, why can't Jared Cook gash them? I think it's an absolute opportunity for us to show that we are bringing our tight ends into this game. And then guess what? Jordy Nelson's going to start to get open, wide open. This is the opposite of what I was hoping for against the Jaguars. Now the defense has to worry about the middle of the field. They got to cheat inside, and then the outside opens up. I mean, for crying out loud. What team in the league can put a guy like a better guy than Jordy Nelson out on the field, who knows how to use the boundary line as an extra defender, and Aaron Rodgers, who knows how to use that boundary line and is more accurate than anyone else in the league? You know, guys, we can get this done. Jared is predicting right now that Jared Cook will gash. It's funny that you said Jared. I'm saying Jared is predicting that Jared will gash. But yeah, that Cook is going to make a difference. The only thing I see holding Cook back right now is the offensive play calling, to be quite honest. So we'll see how it goes. But yes, I agree. I think Cook's going to have something to say in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Rodgers doesn't as well. And tomorrow we got to lay it all on the line, folks. So be ready. Be ready with your predictions. Tomorrow's Prediction Friday. Guys, it is Thursday. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a fantastic day. I got my coffee in hand. This is cheers, Jared. And the weekend is coming. For crying out loud, you know, we've got college football now, and on Saturdays. You may even, I'm not sure what the situation is with high school football yet, if they're starting on Friday nights just yet. And Jared is, of course, rubbing it in our noses that it's Friday there. Crying out loud. I need a Learjet to go like back and forth. But yeah, the weekend is almost here, guys. Hang in there. I hope you're having a fantastic week. If you are not having a good week, I am wishing you the best. I am wishing you, just remember, Packers are 1-0 and a chance to go 2-0. Do what you need to do to get into this weekend, get a little bit of rest, and get ready to go back at it again, because the Packers are getting ready to go back at it against the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. It's going to be one heck of a matchup, folks. So I'm going to let you go on that. And tomorrow morning we will have Prediction Friday, so get your predictions ready, make your final thoughts, and we will be rolling that out tomorrow. And for now, I will say goodbye to you. Go Pack, and remember, get the ring. Bye-bye.